Hey y'all, my name is Ifelici or Felici. I am an ace trainer, closing in on elite. Hopefully, I'll hit that this weekend with my regionals tournament. I don't yet have a weighted Voyager either, and I was recently participating in the Gem Breakers Elites and Aces tournament. It was a tournament put together full of aces and elites, generally very high-ranking people. I put my card up there so you can see my rank. This was, I believe, right afterward. I was 85, and I was the 27th ranked person in the tournament, which felt very unusual. But just so you have an idea of just how strong that competition was, it was an amazing tournament. So I put together this video for all of my highlights, and we'll go through that. Just a quick breakdown on my team. I was running Hypno with Thunder Punch and Ice Punch, and then of course Confusion. Thunder Punch for the Azumarill matchups, Ice Punch for the Alterias, and the Meganiums or whatever other grasses I needed. Azumarill was running Ice Beam Hydro Pump, Registeel, the Registeel moveset. We're running Flash Cannon and not Close Combat, Focus Blast. Toxicroak with Counter, Sludge Bomb, Mud Bomb. Stunfisk I was running with Thundershock for the slightly improved Azu matchup, and then Meganium with Frenzy Plant and Earthquake. So let's run into this. So for the first round, we're up against Real Dante. It's actually a friend I already had. He's got a kind of spicy team with the Skuntank there. So as we're jumping in, I'm leading Reggie into Scrafty, which is an atrocious matchup. So I switch out immediately into my Stunfisk, and I'm just waiting to see what comes out. Altaria is not great. It's not the worst, though. These discharges will be neutral damage, thanks to the Dragon Flying combo. And even though I'm taking full damage from the Dragon Breath, I will resist Sky attacks. However, I have to be very careful to not get hit by a Dragon Pulse. Yeah, so as you see, that Sky attack didn't really do too much thanks to Stunfisk's electric typing. So I'm just going to keep pumping out discharges, and hopefully I'll be able to get this Altaria very low. Yeah. So at this point, Altaria might try and farm me down, but if the Altaria tries to farm me down, I will kill the Altaria with another discharge. So I'm forcing them to burn their energy right here. So far, neither of us have burned shields, which is not great. I really want shields down with my Registeel, but I bring in the Azu. I know Azu's going to be very good against the Scrafty in the back, and I'll be able to farm down this Altaria without worrying about taking too much Dragon Breath damage. And we have an Azu Mirror. So I'm trying to decide if I wanted to swap or not, but I really don't want to get trapped by the Scrafty. So what I might try and end up doing is seeing if I can sack swap to a Registeel. I think that's what I might try and do. Anyhow, we're just going to keep punching each other down. I would really like to get these shields out. Yeah. So at this point, I'm just going to go straight for this Focus Blast, I think. Focus Blast will kill the Scrafty if it hits it, because it will be super effective. And Scrafty is just going to keep hitting me with Power Up Punch to boost the super effective counter damage. Oh no, I'm baiting with the Flash Cannon. Go up to the Focus Blast, bait the Flash Cannon. Yeah, he's got to shield that because if he loses that, he's going to lose. He needs the Scrafty to survive this matchup. Once again, I'm not going to burn any shields. And I'm going to get to one more Flash Cannon before I die. This Flash Cannon, I still don't think would quite kill the Scrafty, but it'd put it very low if it didn't. Get a little bit of lag, but he shields it. And the Scrafty is just going to farm me down. However, I now have a 2 shield to 0 lead with my Azu, and I'm closing in on that Hydro Pump. So I'm going to shield this because I'm afraid of the Foul Play. The Foul Play would be resisted, but with 2 power-up punches, it would still hurt. I'm going to charge up a little more, and then I'm going to throw this Hydro Pump to make sure that the Scrafty dies. However, I have a very large shield. I have a shield advantage in the mirror, and even though I'm a little bit of health disadvantage, I should be fine. Should be. So I'm hitting this Hydro Pump, and I really just need to not get hit by a Hydro Pump for him from their Azu. So this is where I make a mistake. I think, oh, he could be baiting me. I need to not be baited. And that gets me very low. But I'm like, okay, we should still be fine. I need to get to this Hydro Pump because he's still not in Ice Beam range. And I'm going to die. No, I'm going to hit the Ice Beam because I would very much die to that next bubble before I hit the Hydro Pump. And the Ice Beam is just not enough. and I die with my shield. And shielding that Hydro Pump would have won me that game. So that was rough. However, we're going to go to game 2 now. So I'm down 0-1, not really how I want to start this very high level tournament. Um, I catch a favorable lead this time. Registeel into the Azu. It's not super favorable because that Hydro Pump will still do a lot of damage. However, I'm going to be much faster than the Azu is at pumping out charge moves, and I don't have to worry about baits, whereas that Azu needs to land the Hydro Pump. I'm going to shield this because that Hydro Pump would do a large chunk of damage, and Registeel is just good against a lot of his team. And so I want to make sure I have as much health as possible. Since he burned all of that energy, I don't really feel the need to switch. And I'm just going to keep unloading flash cannons. Yep, so we're now equal shields. I have a lot of health, and there might be another Hydro Cannon? Or Hydro Pump? Nope. So I beat him out. I get to this flash cannon before the Hydro Pump comes in, but it doesn't quite kill him. Do I not shield this? Oh, I could have sworn I was going to shield that. I probably should have shielded that, but we're going to keep going, and I'm tempted to farm down, but I'm not going to win that race. The bubble damage is much more than lock on. But I do get to the flash cannon, which means either A, I win switch advantage, or B, I have a shield advantage. I bring in my Azu to soak up whatever charge move his Azumarill has. It's just an Ice Beam. And I'll get in 2, maybe 3 bubbles. Look like 2 though. So I've got a slight heads up, or a slight advantage on whatever he brings in. So this Hydro Pump's going to really hurt this Hypno. The Hypno did, I think, 3 confusions, so I'm expecting this to be a Thunder Punch, and it is. And we are going to just unload this Hydro Pump. Yeah, it does like 60% of this Hypno's health, and it isn't within Ice Beam range, but I believe, yeah. So I was pretty sure that he was going to get to the charge move before I did, and so I swap in my Stunfisk to eat the Thunder Punch, and it is triple resisted thanks to the ground and electric typing. And so now it's my Stunfisk versus this Scrafty, and I'm just going straight discharges. Discharge is a little bit more energy than Mud Bomb. However, it is a slightly better move. It's going to be slightly more damage. The advantage from Mud Bomb, though, is that even though you're hitting Discharge and Mud Bomb at the same time, if I were to do a Mud Bomb, I would hit the subsequent Mud Bombs one turn before I would hit a Discharge, which is why I started hitting Mud Bomb there. I'm trying to conserve energy. But he's going to hit this foul play, and I'm going to swap out while he has all of that energy gone. Farm him down, and I've just got a Hydro Pump to unload into this Hypno, and that'll be game 2. Yeah, and it goes down. So we're going to go on to game 3, a decisive game 3. There's a lot of these, just a heads up. A lot of decisive game 3s. Yeah, so I catch a kind of neutral lead. After this tournament, I think I've actually come to the conclusion that Hypno is the better lead, and so I'm going to go ahead and swap out. I was trying to catch a Thunder Punch, and I didn't. And I end up in this Stunfisk versus Scrafty matchup again, and I'm just going to unload. Start throwing as many discharges as I can before I die. I'm not going to be able to swap out, and even if I could, I don't really want to lock anything else in. Yeah. But these power-up punches and counters are going to start adding up very quickly, and it's going to end up out-damaging me. However, we will be able to bring in Azu afterward to try and soak stuff up. Try and soak up as much of that damage as we can. Yeah, as you can see, I'm starting to switch to Mud Bomb in an attempt to save energy. Which was a my mic died on me, and I'm not sure why. Yeah. So we barely lose that, and we bring in our... Oh no, we did get the kill. Sorry. So Azumarill comes in to match his Azumarill, and I am decently far ahead because of the farming I did in the first. And we know that there is a Hypno in the back to go with my Registeel, so I'm very happy in this situation right now. Yeah, so we're just trading Hydro Pumps. Hydro Pump's the best move in this mirror, unless you have Play Rough. Play Rough is unresisted, unlike Hydro Pump and Ice Beam, and so that would be the better move there. But I really am fond of this Hydro Pump Ice Beam moveset. Yeah, it's not the most exciting mirror, just constantly unloading, but I do manage to catch an Ice Beam, which is nice. Cool. So I decided not to save my Azu and instead swap to Registeel. So I've got 2 shields. I'm doing very well. I have a massive advantage at this point, and we're going to start throwing flash cannons. Flash cannons are going to really chip away at this Hypno, and this is where the mistake happens. So as low as his Azu and my Hypno or my Reggie are, I should have just shielded, even if it was a Thunder Punch. But turns out his Hypno's running Focus Blast, which I would normally say is the wrong moveset, but it won him this game, and it won him this match. So I I can't realistically say that, because it just melted that Hypno as you saw, and then my Azumarill had no health. And so we started this tournament 0-1, and it was entirely due to me making bad decisions, which is not really how I want to do that. So well played to Real Dante for being able to capitalize on my bad decisions and take the win. So next we will move on to the second round, where we're against Kiwi Braden with another Altaria. There's Altarias, I think, in each of my opponent's teams, so I get a lot of practice versus the Altaria. So we catch the lead really well. Azu is going to double resist those Dragon Breaths, and he switches to Lapras, which is a very hard counter for Azumarill. I bring in my Toxicroak. Toxicroak will be dealing super effective damage with the counters, even if the Mud Bomb and Sludge Bomb are unresisted. But as you can see, it's really chunking away at that Lapras, and I'm just going to throw this Mud Bomb in an attempt to finish it off. Oh yeah, not even close. So I have to decide if I want to shield or not, and I'm going to shield, because I want to make sure that I can line up my Azumarill with that Altaria again, which I should be able to do when I feint it down with counters. We're waiting for the swap to come in, and I try to throw the Mud Bomb right away, but no luck. So now that the Altaria is back, we're going to bring in my Azumarill, and we're going to see what he has in the back. I'm going to throw this Ice Beam right away to either lower the Meganium's health or to get a shield, and then swap out because I do not want to stay in this matchup. Well, I am apparently staying a lot longer than I should, but it does mean I get to catch that Frenzy Plant. Did not remember doing that. However, we catch the Frenzy Plant, which is fantastic on Registeel, because Registeel is really only worried about the Earthquake. So I'm going to start throwing Flash Cannons at this Meganium. Flash Cannon will do like 50% of Meganium's health, maybe 45. It's definitely not lethal, but you can't really take more than one. So at this point I have to be very afraid of the Earthquake, and I am not, and I die. However, this Ice Beam is going to do a lot of damage to the Meganium. Unfortunately, Meganium has a lot of health, and it will not quite, or a lot of defense, so it'll not be enough. This Meganium's getting low, and it's probably going to hit me with a Frenzy Plant? No. It's got the Frenzy Plant stored. However, now all we have to do is make sure we leave this matchup with a shield and either an Ice Beam or very close to an Ice Beam, and we should win. So I'm charging up, and I'm throwing the Ice Beam. So Ice Beam does a lot of damage to this Altaria, and I'm trying to commit to farming down, and I went a little too far. I probably should have thrown the Ice Beam. I mean, in hindsight, I definitely should have thrown the Ice Beam, but now I have to farm down, and it's just a CMP tie. It's whoever has the higher attack between Meganium and Azumarill is going to win this fight, and that would be Meganium. Because the Meganium has the Frenzy Plant, and I have the Ice Beam, both of which were lethal. So we are already down again. We are just not doing well in the first games of these sets. So we're going into round 2, or not round 2, we're going into the second fight of the second round, and we end up having a mirror. So Toxicroak on Toxicroak, and this mirror is going to come down to, ideally, whichever Toxicroak has the higher attack, because they're going to win the CMP tie, and a Mud Bomb is what kills. So what I see right here is that I think I have the higher attack, because we have a CMP tie and I went first. And now that CMP ties are broken by the higher attack stat, it should be consistent. And so I'm very happy to stay in this matchup, and I should have been looking for the swap out. Kiwi makes a fantastic swap to catch the Mud Bomb, which I'm trying to force because of shields, and brings in his Lapras. So even though Toxicroak versus Lapras is not necessarily a bad matchup, I really don't want his Toxicroak to see my Registeel. So I'm going to bring in my Registeel, against the Lapras in a very positive matchup. Focus Blast will one-hit this Lapras if it connects. Yeah. And so I expect the Toxicroak to come back in and do, I guess, maybe one counter and then throw a Mud Bomb at me. Oh no, he's going to farm up. Ooh, very well timed on Kiwi's part as I was just getting to the Flash Cannon. Yeah, so he's got extra energy and I was fully prepared to lose my Registeel. However, I barely survive and get this Flash Cannon off. So Kiwi decides to give up his last shield to maintain switch advantage. And he has a half-health Toxie that is fairly close to a Mud Bomb and will easily hit a Sludge Bomb before I can kill him. So I try to swap out to eat the Sludge Bomb with my Toxicroak, and I believe that he had the same idea of switching out to eat a charge move off of my Azu, which means that my Azu completely avoided the Meganium, and I get to throw a Sludge Bomb at his Meganium, which is super effective. It will one-hit KO this Meganium thanks to the insane attack stat of Toxicroak. However, his Toxicroak still has that Mud Bomb to KO mine. So even though Toxie is very attack weighted, it does not have enough damage to one-shot me with a Sludge Bomb from that range, and I have an Ice Beam ready. I'm not entirely sure why it bubbled down. I think I might have thought he still had a shield. And then we will move on to fight number 3, another decisive fight number 3. Yeah. So I keep looking for this Basti. That's why I'm bringing in the Reggie and the Toxicroak. I am just ready to wail on it, and I don't think I ever see it. Yeah, we lose the lead in a terrible way. Toxicroak does not want to see this Altaria. So I swap into Azumarill and then have it locked against the Meganium, which is also not great. This Ice Beam will really hurt, but it will not be anywhere near lethal. And Meganium gets to Frenzy Plant faster than I can get to Ice Beam. So I'm really fighting uphill here. So I shield this first Frenzy Plant because I want to try and hit a second Ice Beam to force another shield. To either force equal shields or to get switch advantage back. Because the less shields there are, the more likely that my Toxicroak will be able to do something, because I'm half expecting it to still be against the Altaria, and I would like to land a Sludge Bomb. Yeah, so I die, and I'm going to bring in Toxicroak here, and we need to farm up the Meganium. Yeah, so I need some energy to take with me into this Altaria matchup. Once again, I try to get a little cheeky swap there, and it's probably a good thing it didn't work. Even though I'm going to resist that Frenzy Plant, Toxicroak's really squishy, so I'm going to take a lot of damage. I think this Altaria might have a lot of energy, so I swap out immediately. And I'm just going to keep farming. And what I really should have done is overcharged a lot more since he didn't swap out immediately. He's probably just waiting for me to burn all of my energy and then get out. And I should have been prepared for that. I should have overcharged a little more. So here, Muck's going to be throwing Dark Pulses. They'll do probably 35 to 40% of my health. I can definitely take one or two, but I need to be careful with it. And I'm going to start unloading Flash Cannons. I think it takes like 4, maybe 5 Snarls for Dark Pulse, and so I'm not expecting to win this race. And I have to decide whether I want to save my Registeel or give it up. And I need to save my... I do not know why it keeps doing that, but I need to save my Registeel since I need something to take out this Altaria. And so I bring in my Toxicroak to clean up the Muck and to try and take some of this energy out of Altaria. And I'm just hoping that I can hit 2 Flash Cannons before this Altaria can get to, I think 2 Sky Attacks? It might need just one Sky Attack. I don't remember my shields. Yeah. So I'm just racing my flash cannon before it can get to another sky attack, and I don't quite make it. And that is enough for me to lose. Yeah. So another really close game three, and we are now 0-2 in this tournament, which is not. It is really not where I want to be. But hey, goals. So we're hoping to turn it around here. I would love to finish 5-2, but like 4-3 would be nice. We want to be positive at the very least. I catch a very favorable lead. Um, since this Melmetal is staying in, I'm expecting him to throw a superpower before disappearing. And that is why you should mute all of your notifications before going into a tournament fight. Because if I had lost because of something along those lines, that's entirely on me. There are no replays for that. Anyhow, he throws his superpower and immediately swaps out into Altaria. And so now that there is an open Altaria, I decide to lock it in against my Registeel, which is not the greatest matchup, but it's not terrible either. I don't remember what my third was, but I'm assuming it's not a Zoom roll or I would have brought that in. Yeah, so these sky attacks don't do all that much, but the Dragon Breaths really add up. That's a lot of damage. But this Flash Cannon should take him out if he doesn't shield, and he doesn't. So whatever comes in next needs to kill my Registeel fast, so I'm assuming it's not going to be his Melmetal. Yeah. So I think I'm within a Leaf Blade range for this Shiftry, and even though I could try and hit it with a Flash Cannon, I'm happy to just let it go. Oh yeah, we have Toxicroak. So now that the Altaria is out of the picture, both the Shiftry and the Melmetal are weak to Toxicroak, and I just have to plow through. Toxicroak resists both Leaf Blade and Dark Pulse, or not Dark Pulse, Foul Play from the Shiftry, and so I didn't really want to shield anything there. And so in order to try and preserve Toxicroak's positive matchup versus Shiftry, I swap out to my Stunfisk, and I'm just not going to burn any shields. I want to make sure that Shiftry dies to those counters from Toxicroak. Yeah, even if this is a superpower, it shouldn't kill me. If he hits a second superpower, I'm perfectly happy to die, but I'm going to get this Mud Bomb off first, so we're fine. This Mud Bomb will be lethal, and as much as I would like to switch, I can't because the timer's not up. However, he can't just farm me down because Snarl just doesn't do enough damage. He has to burn a Leaf Blade, and once I land that discharge, I immediately swap to my Toxicroak to get in the killing counter. So we have finally won game one, and now we get this. We get a fine matchup. It's not great. Once again, the Dragon Breaths are going to do a lot of damage, but we're resisting sky attacks. And these discharges will do not too much, but also not nothing. It will definitely add up over time. And I just once again need to be very careful not to get hit by Dragon Pulse. At this point, I'm starting to worry that the Altaria is just going straight for the Dragon Pulse, and I'm going to shield it because I do not want to lose my Stunfisk like that. It's a Sky attack, which is nice. I got baited, I guess, but it's better than anything else. So at this point, I know this one's just another Sky attack, and I can take that damage. Yeah, we're just going to keep throwing discharges. There's no real reason to bait here. It would save me like one Thundershock, and the downside of it is not that great. So we're down a shield, but we do have switch advantage, and Stunfisk is at a very low health, so whatever comes in can't really farm it all that well. And it's a Hypno. I would love to get that last discharge off, but no such luck. So I bring in my Registeel because I need to make sure that Toxicroak does not see Hypno. I pop up my swap window waiting for the Hypno swap. It doesn't matter what he changes to, I am bringing in my Toxicroak because there's only two things on his team that really destroy Toxicroak, and both of those have already been dealt with, the Hypno and the Altaria. And while this is not necessarily a positive matchup for me, I do have Sludge Bomb. So I let that Ice Beam through, I get my low health, and I'm going to try and bait with this Mud Bomb because people don't tend to lie when you're low health. so I figured I would lie when I was low health, and I managed to get to the Sludge Bomb right before I die. If he shields, if he doesn't shield, either way I'm happy. Yeah, we got it off. Nice. So I'm going to die, and this Azumarill has some sort of move. I'm fully expecting it to be a Hydro Pump, so I shield. I don't want to lose that much health, but it's a Play Rough. So we know that his Azumarill no longer has Hydro Pump, or never had Hydro Pump. His Hypno comes in, and I believe we've seen a Thunder Punch off of it. And I'm kind of worried about the Focus Blast after earlier, but realistically, I'm not expecting to see it anymore. Yeah, I'm seeing a Thunder Punch here, which kind of tells me that there's no Shadow Ball, and definitely tells me there's no Focus Blast. So I'm mildly expecting a double Punch Hypno. And we're just going to keep unloading Flash Cannons, and the second one will hit. Even if this was a Shadow Ball, I think I would survive. But I will definitely survive a Thunder Punch. And then this Flash Cannon will take out the Hypno. Yeah. Cool. So we won the first two matches, and we are finally on the board. We are on our way to that 5-2. Hopefully. So we're going into the third match, and I am hoping to get the sweep. It's always nice when that happens, as long as it doesn't happen to you. Yeah, so we catch a fantastic lead. I'm resisting Lucario's counters, and I'm dealing super effective back. He brings in the Hypno, and I get my Registeel back in on it. So I am full on in control of this match. I don't have to shield anything this Hypno's doing, and I'm just going to start unloading all of these Flash Cannons. It'll take like 2 to 3 to kill it, so it's still not going to be a fast match, but we will get there. I don't necessarily mind that my Registeel's getting lower health, though, because the lower health I have, the less health, or the less energy that the Lucario will be able to get off of me. And so in preparation of that, I'm actually going to take a little bit more damage and build up a little bit more energy, just in case I can maybe get off a second one. And we're going to throw this Flash Cannon. I don't expect him to shield this. Yeah. And I'm going to swap out. I'm trying to swap out, fully expecting that the Lucario is coming in, and I want to save my energy. Yeah, so we catch that, and now my Toxicroak is locked in. So that was probably a mistake what I did. I should have probably just let it kill me. But we land the Sludge Bomb, which is nice, and then I get a little bit too scared to go up for the Sludge Bomb again and throw the Mud Bomb. And he doesn't shield. Yeah, so I definitely could have hit the Sludge Bomb. I just needed one more counter, and I got it afterward. We bring in the Registeel, and we are going to... yeah, and now Imzal, DTC mod, is telling me that it's a very good thing I didn't wait this cup, as I am 0-2. And I'm going to throw a Discharge, but I overcharge a little too much, and I end up taking the Sky Attack. Yeah, so we're charging, and I'm going to throw this Discharge, which would be more than enough to kill the Altaria, and I will have plenty of energy left. If Lucario decides to come back in, I do have Mud Bombs to kill it, and there it is. But I think he has a shield. Yeah, that Mud Bomb would deal super effective damage and would definitely kill him. So the downside for me, I should have fully shielded that Sky Attack, because now these these counters are really adding up, and I'm not entirely certain that I'm going to make a Mud Bomb before... Yeah, I do not hit that Mud Bomb, and I just get countered down with 2 shields. But we do still take the round. We take it 2-1, so it's not bad. Let me reset. I do not know why my mic is doing this. I need to fix that. Anyhow, we're going to move on to round 4. We have started that trek back. We are 1-2, 4 more matches to go. So we're up against David AGTZG, Agtizg, I don't know, something like that. And we catch a lead that I'm not entirely certain how it goes. I know that the Frenzy Plants really hurt, but I'm packing Ice Punch, and I have not actually used an Ice Punch against Meganium before. But I know I can take this Frenzy Plant just fine. I'm going to. Yeah. I'm going to keep charging up a little bit, and we're going to throw an Ice Punch. But I have to shield this Frenzy Plant. It would kill me. I'm hoping that this Ice Punch will do basically however much health is left, but I really doubt it. Because Hypno doesn't have the greatest attack, and Meganium's very tanky. But it does a nice chunk, and from here I should be able to counter down the Meganium, or not counter, Confusion down the Meganium. And I'm ready for whatever comes in. I'm a little worried that I was going to get fainted down during the time that my Confusion took, so I just threw a Thunder Punch expecting an Azu, and Altaria comes in. Altaria would have been great to hit with this Ice Punch, and might have cost me this game. Like, not getting that damage, because the second Ice Punch gets shielded. The second punch. And I now have no answer to Altaria. I built this team very poorly, unfortunately. My only answer to Altaria was Hypno, and once I lost Hypno, I had two things that just could not win. He brings in the Gallade to add insult to injury, and I'm just taking so much damage. Yeah. Close combat does a lot of damage, and I get off a Frenzy Plant. I'm assuming he lets it go. Yeah, because he can just win this with Altaria from here. He doesn't even need to throw a charge move. He can just farm me down. Yeah, I think I should have gotten that Sledge Bomb off. I'm not sure how I died before I got to throw it, but it wouldn't have made a difference anyways there. So we're down again, and we're going to go on to our second fight. And I have learned that I need to be prepared for that Altaria, because it just ran through my team, and I lead Registeel. Catch the Muck lead, and it's not a great lead. It's not a bad lead. It's pretty even. And I'm just going to start throwing flash cannons, and these dark pulses will start hitting me back for a nice, I don't know, solid chunk of health. So, yeah. So the dark pulses are a little bit faster than my flash cannons are, which is unfortunate. That will definitely give this Muck the race. So I'm going to have to either swap out or expect to lose at this point, I think. However, he's burned both shields. And I still have not burned both shields, but I'm going to. Yep. So we'll get at least one more charge move off, and I'm going to overcharge and throw my flash cannon again. And I'm expecting that I swap out here. Maybe I don't. Oh, there it is. So I swap out trying to catch a Dark Pulse on my Azu, and it works. It was a little slow, but it worked. However, now my Azu is stuck against this Meganium. I get my Ice Beam off, but I still need to have a better answer for Meganium. Yeah, because I'm definitely in Frenzy Plant range, and this Meganium is farming me. It's got more than enough energy left. So I know he still has the Muck in the back, and that Meganium has a lot of energy, so I bring in Hypno to try and farm it down and maybe just take one Frenzy Plant. That would be the dream, but I think I end up taking two. It hurts. Oh, I swap out to try and get a little bit more energy, and that Meganium has 1 health. If I'd have been able to keep this Registeel, yeah, but I'm going to die to a Vine Whip, and this Meganium is barely alive. Hypno needs to take out everything else, and I just don't see that happening. Yeah. There's Gallade. Gallade would fall to 2 Thunder Punches, I think? Oh, maybe I do win this one. Yeah, I get to the... Oh, I do not get to the second Thunder Punch. That second Thunder Punch would have KO'd the Gallade, but this Leaf Blade is definitely enough damage to kill me. Yeah. So we're going to move on to the third fight of the 4th round. But I've already lost this. We are now no longer a 5-2 team. We are maybe a 4-3 team. Hoping for a 4-3 team. So we catch a decent lead. Registeel wins as long as you don't get hit by an Earthquake and you don't get baited by the Frenzy Plants. And It's just a very difficult matchup to play. I've kind of gotten the idea so far that David does not like to bait me, and so I've started just shielding everything. Yeah. And hoping to get these flash cannons, but he is shielding. I swap out trying to catch an Earthquake, because Earthquake is definitely much worse than Frenzy Plant is. And I do not... There's just no slipping by him. David brings in the Lapras, which I'm not entirely certain was the right move. Um, I think it was done to avoid the Registeel. However, at this point, I have a lot of energy and I have Thunder Punches. Uh, and I do quite a bit to this Lapras. However, the Surf does kill me. So I bring back Registeel, and I'm happy to take a Surf here as I build up a lot of energy before finally hitting the Flash Cannon. Yeah, so this Flash Cannon will be enough to take this out, and I want to be able to handle this Meganium when it comes back in. So I remember that Meganium throwing a move right before it left, so I feel like this is a Frenzy Plant, and it is. And in comes the Gallade. So Gallade is very scary if it can hit you with a close combat. Otherwise, my Registeel is much scarier. So I swap to the Azu because I want to try and beat Gallade to my charge moves. And I'm counting, trying to get a little bit more energy, and I miscounted. I missed a confusion somewhere because I'm about to eat a Leaf Blade and it will KO. Oh, it doesn't KO. I definitely thought it KO'd me. However, I build up a lot of extra energy and throw the Ice Beam. Gallade is very squishy, and from here I'm able to bubble him down. So the Meganium is very low on energy after throwing the Frenzy Plant on Registeel, and because of my over farming on the Gallade, we managed to get the Ice Beam out, which keeps us from being swept, but we do still lose, unfortunately. Excuse me while I take a sip of water before moving on to round 5. So we're going to move on to round 5 versus Trainer Steiner. Trainer Stainer? Trainer Stainer, we're going with that. I like the rhyme. Who is also running the Melmetal. I saw that twice this tournament, maybe 3 times. It was very interesting. So we're back in this Hypno Meganium matchup, and I think I have a fairly solid plan on how it works. I know that I need to take, or I don't need to, I can take one Frenzy Plant, and as long as one Ice Punch lands, I can farm him down. I'm hoping to land this one fast since he doesn't know what my moveset is yet, but I do not. We get another Ice Punch, but not before this Frenzy Plant comes out. So we have to burn a shield to make sure Hypno stays alive, and we're going to try and force more shields out of our opponent. So even though that Ice Punch doesn't KO, we're going to try and farm it down. So our opponent swaps out to avoid effectively one confusion, but that ends up locking in their Altaria. In order to not waste time, I do swap out my Hypno after throwing the Ice Beam, and I start just farming with Hypno. Or not Hypno, with Azumarill, sorry. So I want to make sure that I hit that Hydro Pump and even more, so I got plenty of energy before throwing my Ice Beam. I decide a little late, maybe I should undercharge this so I can bubble down, but I still did way too much damage thanks to Altaria's severe ice weakness. I was hitting the bottom corner because I thought that Meganium was coming back in. And since it didn't, I got to overcharge the Toxie a little bit. This is really annoying. I need to fix this. I swap out to try and confusion down this Meganium, and I actually end up catching a Frenzy Plant, which is even better. And from here, I can just bring in my Azumarill to finish it off with a bubble, get a little bit more energy, and then throw this Ice Beam to KO the Toxicroak. Oh, it does not. So down here, I am now stuck. However, as much damage as Toxicroak does, he would need to hit 2 mud bombs plus however many counters to be able to kill me. And he's just not going to have that much time. Lock on charges the flash cannon way too fast. Yeah. Even though this mud bomb's going to hit me, it's not going to kill me as we saw in one of the earlier fights. And this flash cannon's going to do more than the 15 health that this Toxicroak has. Yeah. Cool. So we are up again. Last time we won the game 1, we won the game. So I like this. I like this trend. We just need to keep it up. Goal now is a 4-3. We want to end above 500. We want to be positive. So we start going into game 2. Hoping to catch another really positive lead. And we'll see what we got. Yeah, so this is actually not a bad lead. The main thing I just need to keep in mind is to avoid getting hit by a Hydro Pump. These Thunder Punches are going to do a decent chunk of damage to this Azumarill. So I'm afraid of the Hydro Pump. I'm going to shield. It's a good call. Not getting baited. Yeah, and we're going to just keep throwing Thunder Punches until he either dies or leaves the fight. Swaps out. Thunder Punch is faster than Hydro Pump, even if it does do less damage. But now this Azumarill is in confusion range. I swap out though because I don't want to use my shield, but I also am afraid of getting hit by a Hydro Pump. It was just an Ice Beam, so I'd have been fine, and now my Azumarill is trapped. However, it's trapped against the Toxicroak, and I am resisting the counters. I just kind of need to watch out for the Sludge Bomb. And if it hits me, that's not the worst thing. I probably let this go, because I don't really need my Azumarill anymore. I can farm down this Toxicroak with my Hypno. And he knows that, oh, the Sludge Bomb did not kill me. That was undercharged a little, and then the Hypno swaps in. Because of that, though, I now know that he has Hypno and Toxicroak, and his Hypno is locked. His Hypno cannot avoid my Registeel, and I can pretty much just make sure that we fight as my Registeel versus his Hypno, and then whenever Toxicroak comes back in, I can put my Hypno on top of his Toxicroak and melt it in 2 confusions. I don't know what he has, and I still don't shield. I do need shields more than I did in the last one because I'm kind of afraid of a Sludge Bomb hitting my Hypno. I believe my Hypno's low enough that a Sludge Bomb would KO it, and so I'm watching for the swap, and I bring in my Hypno. Yeah. So a Sludge Bomb might KO my Hypno, and I want to protect it. As long as I don't die here, I win the fight. Yeah. I think I'm actually out of Shadow Ball range on my opponent's Hypno, which is also nice, because I just want to try and get to this last Thunder Punch, but nothing. Yeah, so I think we've seen Shadow Ball and Thunder Punch now, and we can just farm it down. Oh, we don't even farm it down. We hit this Flash Cannon for the KO. So we have started our long climb back to positive. We are 2-0 in this record, or in this set, and we are going on to game 3, try and get a sweep. Whew, I'm exhausted already. So we lead Hypno, and we catch their Hypno. This is not good for me, because I do not have the Shadow Ball that my opponent has. Something happens and our confusions get slightly off, but I swap trying to eat a Shadow Ball. Except he was trying to bait me, and by trying to bait me, used the correct move. Yeah, this is going to be another Thunder Punch, and I have to decide if I actually want to take it or not. And I do. I'm going to build up, and I think I'm just going to go straight for the Hydro Pump to see if I can get this KO. Yeah. I think Hydro Pump would kill the Hypno at this point. Yeah. And I don't mind this match taking longer because it means my switch timer would be better. His Toxicroak's trying to farm me down before I can get to another charge move, but I get this Ice Beam right as that last counter's about to kill me. And I am low. So from here we're just going to bring in the Hypno. And now that we know that the Toxicroak will be out of the picture, my Registeel looks a lot better. Yeah, I don't necessarily mind taking damage because I want all of these shields for Registeel. Hypno's going to take a Shadow Ball at some point, so we're going to go ahead and swap out. I don't really want our Hypnos to match up because I just don't have the right moveset for that fight. And I'm going to keep saving these shields just in case there's like a Melmetal in the back. Because those superpowers, while they wouldn't kill me, well, the first one wouldn't kill me, they do add up very quickly, and I'm already missing a decent chunk of health. So even though the first Focus Blast didn't kill him, or didn't land, it's probably for the best. Because Melmetal can take one Focus Blast, but if he starts lowering his defense, it's going to kill him. He baits me with a Rock Slide to keep his stats up, but that Focus Blast is still enough to kill him. At this point, it's just the Hypno, and I'm perfectly happy using Shield. Otherwise, the Shield doesn't get used, and so far in this tournament, I've lost when I've not used Shields. So we're not going to do that again. Yeah, this Flash Cannon, we get up there, and it's more than enough to kill the Hypno. Cool, so we finally hit a sweep, and we are 2-3. So we're going to move on to round 6, second to last round, against Pal GC. I'm guessing on that. And we are once again in a Hypno matchup. I do not know what his Hypno moveset is, but I know that mine loses. And so I swap out to the Meganium, hoping to catch a Thunder Punch or something, and Meganium gets trapped against an Altaria. And I cannot do anything against an Altaria with my Meganium. Both Frenzy Plant and Earthquake are double resisted. My Vine Whip's double resisted. I'm honestly just happy that he decided to throw a Sky Attack rather than farming me down. He probably should have farmed me down a little bit more. But now I can bring back my Hypno and start throwing Ice Punches. Ice Punches will really hurt the Altaria, and it looks like it's in farming range, and so I'm going to just commit to that. Unfortunately, gets out the Sky Attack right before he dies to my Confusion, and in an effort to save some health, mostly because I'm afraid that there's still a Toxicroak, I shielded that. I shield again, afraid of the Shadow Ball, and I'm going to go ahead and swap out to my Registeel, but I'm down 2 shields to 0, and it's a hard place to pull back from. He ends up bringing in the Azumarill, which means I probably, if I'd have known there was an Azumarill in the back, I probably wouldn't have shielded my Hypno. But I could not risk that there was still Toxicroak. Yeah. So he's letting through these flash cannons, which is honestly making me even more upset because I need to get these shields through. Or I need to get through these shields. I'm trying to get to one more flash cannon before he kills me. But at this point, I'm thinking that he might be committing to farming me down. And I swap out and attempt to catch him before he throws a charge move. But no such luck. He gets out an Ice Beam before I get to my Thunder Punch. And I'm down a shield. I let all of this go through in an attempt to maybe get one Confusion off. But he does the smart thing and immediately swaps. So even though I undercharged, I get no extra. I'm not going to get any extra energy off of it. And I'm gone at this point. Because I've got this Hypno and a tiny bit of health left on Registeel, and I just can't do anything against this shield. Yeah, so we lose the first fight of round 6, and I am afraid. I really, really want to end positively. Y'all, this is the worst. Sorry, my throat's drying out as I'm talking. So we're going to move on to the second fight. And hopefully we can turn it around. I have to win this or my dreams of a over 500 record are shot. So this is not a good lead for me. the sludge waves will do a lot of damage, and so I swap out trying to eat a sludge wave. I'm really hoping that he wasn't trying to bait, and he wasn't. So I double resist that sludge wave. That was a lot of energy lost, and he didn't bring in the Toxicroak or the Stun Fist to punish my Registeel swap, which is honestly a little lucky. But now we can start unloading on these flash cannons. My Azumarill still has a decent bit of energy in the back from the initial lead up, and I'm just not going to shield because I know I will get off at least one more flash cannon, and if he decides to bait, then all the better for us. So we get a shield off of this Azu, and he starts farming down. However, this Azu has a lot of health. But we have Meganium. So these Ice Beams will hurt, and I want to make sure that I am prepared for this Amok when it comes in. I'm going to need Earthquakes. So I'm going to keep farming, and I'm fine with letting one Ice Beam through, but I definitely couldn't have taken two. And I know I can farm a little bit more safely, and I'm going to throw this Frenzy Plant. If the Amok comes in, I need to be able to get to this Earthquake. But it is Hypno. And I'm going to try and get 2 Frenzy Plants off before I die, timing my Vine Whips to make sure that I get as much energy as I can before the Confusions hit. I swap out trying to catch something, and I think I actually might have, because that Shadow Ball was probably aimed for the Meganium. I think he's running Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch Shadow Ball is definitely the most common moveset right now. So I overcharge a bit and then throw the Ice Beam, and I'm just going to town here. We're going to hit Hydro Pump, and then maybe hit another Hydro Pump if he shields this, because I think that I'm generating energy faster than he is. So I go for the gutsy no shield here. If that had been a Sludge Wave, I would have died. But here, we know this is going to be another Dark Pulse, and I shield. Yeah. So I start getting a little bit afraid that he's going to hit another Dark Pulse, and decide to just toss this Ice Beam. The bubble damage has been adding up, and I prepare to swap to try and get to a Frenzy Plant, and end up not needing it. So we take Game 2, and we're going to a decisive Game 3. So Game 3, I'm hoping to win the lead, and I don't again. We both decided we were happy with our leads last game, and I lose the lead again. There's still going to be Sludge Waves coming. So I try to do it again, and then decide not to. I'm like, okay, looks like he's still charging. We're going to throw an Ice Beam, and then we'll swap out. That's going to be the plan. It's going to be great. He shields the Ice Beam. I get a bubble off, I guess. I should have been swapping, but instead I shield because I mistimed everything. So we start throwing a couple more bubbles, and I get worried that he's getting close to the Sludge Wave, and I swap again. We're going to try the same thing we did last game. Registeel comes in, and I catch the Sludge Wave again. It's a lot of wasted energy, and this game's starting to look very familiar. We have Registeel running into his Azu, my Azu into his Muck, and I'm just going to keep throwing flash cannons. I need to decide if I want to save this last shield, and I think I'm going to. Even if this is a Hydro Pump, once again, I'll get another flash cannon before we get out, and we can maybe farm something down at the end. Yeah. So I'm going to get farmed down with bubbles before I hit this flash cannon, I think. Oh no! We hit this flash cannon right before that last bubble gets me. And he has to decide whether he wants to be down a shield or if he wants to give me swap. He brings back his Muck, which I'm not necessarily happy with. We charge up a little bit more. I know he's fairly low on energy after throwing that Sludge Wave into the Registeel, and I'm going to throw this Ice Beam. So I'm really afraid that this is a Sludge Wave, and I'm pretty sure that even if it's a Dark Pulse, I should make my Ice Beam before the Sludge Wave comes in, and I do. I've lost so many games earlier to risky no shields. If I don't have to, I'm not going to. So we managed to take out the Muck, and then in the back we have Altaria versus Azumarill. This is the best matchup I could have hoped for in the end. Um, because I will be able to just do so much to this Altaria. The Sky attacks don't do that much damage, and Dragon Breath does effectively nothing. Um, and I believe I'm going to even beat it to this Ice Beam, but I get a little afraid that I'm going to lose that race. Even though I saw the Ice Beam there, I still got afraid and I swapped to Meganium just in case. I wanted to soak up that energy. Whew. So we won it. We're at 3-3. We are in the even 500 going into round 7. I need to win this. So looking at round 7, we're up against Grass. We're up against Grass. Grass. I don't know. And we lead Hypno into Toxicroak. I am ecstatic. I see this lead. I'm like, yes, this is as good as it's going to get. I have my swap window up because I'm ready for whatever comes in, and it's Meganium. I'm sitting here thinking if I want to swap out and decide not to, because I have the Stunfisk to cover the Toxicroak later on, and I don't really get better matchups. I throw my Ice Punch and start looking for the swap, but it looks like it was a CMP tie. Yeah, I'm going to eat this Frenzy Plant. I'm now up a shield, and I can start bringing Registeel to do Flash Cannon. Except at this point, the Meganium's kind of low, and Focus Blast does more just straight damage. I'm going to try and Focus Blast because I think it would one-hit the Meganium, even though Meganium would survive the Flash Cannon. So I throw this. I'm still in the old counter thing. I hadn't updated my game yet, so it's only a great. Even though the Focus Blast doesn't kill the Meganium, I do get to farm it down. It threw a Frenzy Plant last time. I think it's still just only at a Frenzy Plant, and it is. So we end up winning this lead, or the second matchup, very well, except he swaps out. So now his Toxicroak is locked. I get a Flash Cannon in before the Toxie can kill me, and I know that that Toxicroak can't swap out when I eventually bring in my Hypno. So it's going to kill me down. And I can bring in Hypno to probably just finish up this entire match. So we're going to shield to make sure that I stay alive through this Mud Bomb. Oh, it's a Sludge Bomb. Definitely would have died to that. I'm going to be watching for the Meganium to try and swap in to eat a charge move. Yeah, so we're going to throw a Thunder Punch to get this KO. I know that I have Stunfisk in the back, and as long as his Azu is low, I should be able to win it. So I'm going to immediately swap out. And I overcharge a little bit because I was watching for the Meganium swap, but it didn't happen yet, so I throw this Discharge, and I'm going to keep watching. I just know that Meganium is coming in. Try and use it as a third shield. I'm deciding whether this is going to be an Ice Beam or a Hydro Pump, and I'm afraid it's a Hydro Pump. I don't want to lose to not shielding, and so I shield. And at this point, I'm very afraid now, because this Discharge is not going to kill it, kill the Azu, and Azu's going to get to a Hydro Pump, and Hydro Pump will kill me. I would survive an Ice Beam if he tried that, but I don't think he's going to. Yeah, so this is definitely a Hydro Pump, and my Hypno is very low. I still think the Confusion damage will get me there. Yeah, I'm low enough that I don't want to take any charge moves. And that Azu barely survived with like that 1 HP, and I was terrified that the Ice Beam was coming in under my Confusion. However, I am not going to give this Meganium any chance to get any charge moves off. Even though it's at 1 HP, I am going to throw that Ice Punch and make sure it stays dead. So we are up 1-0. Game 2, final round. Let's do it. So I really liked my Hypno lead last time. We catch the Meganium. We've had this lead a couple times now. I'm very comfortable in how to play it. I'm just going to keep. So the goal here is we're going to keep confusioning. Ideally, he would have thrown the Frenzy Plant right after I started a confusion so that I could get as much free confusion as possible. in the sense of it would reset my fast attack, but he does a very good job of timing it so that does not happen. I have to throw my shield, and we're going to try this Ice Punch again. This Ice Punch I think will kill the Meganium if he doesn't shield. No, I say that every time, and it's barely surviving. But we get the confusion off. We're in equal shields, and we won the lead. I am very happy with this. Switching to an Ice Punch right before this tournament was 1,000% the right move. I have been very happy with it. Yeah, so we get a Thunder Punch off before we get farmed down by this Azu, and I have to decide what I'm going to bring in against it. It has a lot of energy, so I'm going to bring in the Registeel. And I have to decide, is this a Hydro Pump or is this an Ice Beam? I'm going to let it go. It's unfortunately a Hydro Pump. I probably would have liked that health, but it is what it is. So, starting to throw more and more Flash Cannons. Azu's getting very low. I'm not in Ice Beam range, but we do get to this Flash Cannon before he gets something off. I think he might have been trying to overfarm a little. Yeah, he's going to protect the Azu. Yeah, I think I'm almost in Ice Beam range, or at least I'm in Ice Beam plus a couple bubble range. And it seems like he has also decided I'm in Ice Beam plus a couple bubble range. And that was perfect because I died right as I was getting to my Flash Cannon. I shield this because I was afraid he was just blind throwing a Hydro Pump into whatever came in the back. Hindsight, I should not have done that. That shield would have been very nice. But we're going to start throwing discharges. I think so far we've only seen Thunder Punch from Hypno. And so I'm hoping to see maybe Thunder Punch and Shadow Balls, but there's Ice Punches. That Ice Punch is kind of going to end this for me, I think. I'm making sure to get in that Thunder Shock before I throw my charge move just to be as efficient about taking up as much of that confusion time as I can. But this Ice Punch is going to effectively kill me. Oh, well, we do get one more discharge, but I don't think it kills the Hypno. Hypno is very tanky. Yeah, and then the confusion hits me and I'm down. So we are up to a very decisive game 3, round 7. Everything matters now, and I am scared. Well, I'm not scared anymore. I know how this ends. So we lead Registeel into Muck. We've had this matchup a couple times, and I am not a big fan of it. But he swaps out before I do, which is just fantastic, because now I get to make sure that my Hypno does not see his Muck, and Hypno is probably the best answer to Meganium I had on that team. So we're going to keep going, and we've shielded the first Frenzy Plant, but we're going to eat the second one. And then we're probably going to throw one more and then an Ice Punch. We've seen this matchup a couple of times. We know how it goes. Except I think it might be slightly different because he did get a couple Vine Whips in. That might make all the difference in the world here. Yeah, so normally that confusion would kill it. So I have to decide if I want to die or not. And I'm perfectly fine letting it go. We're going to bring in Registeel and farm down this Meganium to have tons of energy for whoever decides to come in next. The less shields there are, the better this Registeel does, so I am happy to be at 1-1. And I'm just going to blind throw this Flash Cannon because there's nothing that I would really want to hit with a Focus Blast on this team. And I want to make sure that I'm not going over 100 energy. I don't want to waste lock-ons because they're not really doing damage, and if I'm not getting energy, they're not all that useful. So I get to a Flash Cannon right as he gets to a charge move, and I guess I'm happy letting it go because I'm going to survive. And, oh yeah, he has an Amok in the back, and I have my Stunfisk, which is a fantastic matchup for me. At this point, he can't farm me down before I get to a Flash Cannon. He needs to throw a charge move. And as long as that Azu is out of energy, I am golden. So we're going to try and farm a little bit, but he swaps out before I can do that. I'm going to keep going, get as much energy out of this as I can. I'm fine eating one Dark Pulse. I kind of want to see how much damage it does, and it's not that much. So we make sure to get in a Thundershock before the Snarl, because Snarl is 3 turns, Thundershock is 2 turns. So we use the 2 turns on my Thundershock and the 1 turn to throw my charge move as the 3 turns of the Snarl. If we were to go ahead and throw it immediately, we would just be giving up the value of 1 Snarl, or the value of 1 Thundershock. And the Mud Bombs do a lot of damage. They come really fast, and that was enough to win. Stunfisk carried the day. So we end up winning. We go 4-3. So I'd like to thank you guys for watching this video. It's not the greatest. I would have been ecstatic with a 5-2 or better. We ended up positive, which for as hard of a tournament as this is, I am very happy with. Even though like I really could have won the first 2 games, or the first 2 sets, definitely the first one. The second one would have been a lot harder, but I think it was still my game to win. So this could have been a 6-1 even. So more work for me to actually do. More time to improve and practice before regionals this weekend. If you enjoyed this, or if you want to see more, maybe you have questions you want to ask, I do stream at right up here, yeah, at twitch.tv/ifelici, ifelici. I love having people come in and chat with me. I tend to do Sylph stuff instead of go Battle League, especially while it's Masters right now, because I'm terrible at Master League. And I'd like to give a special thanks to Sage Shadows for actually helping me make this look good, because it would have been not so good without this. Anywho, thanks.